Can you make a Valdo's farmer for about 350 div, give or take? Um, I think you can. Yes, you can, because I mean prices change all the time. So I was thinking about this. It took some time, but I listed out I think the bare essentials to get it started. So the base, I put 360 divine budget, where you can expect to farm Valdo's maps for, like, you might get 2 to 4 divines per map. It'll depend on which one, but I'm pretty sure it can do it. The target stats you want on your gear will be 12k ES. 10k will be fine too. About 10k. I'll change to 10k here. Don't get too obsessed with ES. You only need more if you're getting one shot, really. The build has insane recovery. You get instant recovery from getting hit, from blocking, and you get a ton from leech. So as long as you're not dying in one shot, you should not prioritize stacking ES because it's very expensive. You do want 90 all res. I think this is a huge survivability boost. You'll be able to do much harder content like Delirium and stuff like that. This build relies on spell block instead of spell suppression, because I think it's a very cheap way to get extremely tanky fast. And maybe your Molten Strike will say something like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of currency poured into this one. But at 150, I feel like you can already do a lot of stuff. You don't need all that damage at the beginning. So what do you need? You need the Ephemeral Edge. Right now they're pretty pricey, so if I were to start again, I would go for 14% with Resolute Technique. Probably 50 divines. 15 is about 8% more damage, so, you know. If you have the currency, go for 15, obviously. A good necrotic armor. You don't need the global defenses mod. It's pretty expensive. I would look at something like 3,000 as evasion, 600 ES, maybe. Costs you maybe about 80 divines. At League Start, this was 90, but I think it's probably more like 150 now. It's because it has the global defenses mod, which is kind of hard to put on, I think. So, I mean, you know, use your own judgment, but this is a very important piece. It gives you a majority of your energy shield from the combination with Trickster's Escape Artist. So you want to focus a bit on this piece. The Circlet also important, the Helm, because you double that value from the Energy Shield Mastery. I would put 50D into this one. You want to target like just high energy shield, and I would say the int roll not as important, you know, because it gets expensive. Then gloves and boots, kind of whatever. Okay, ES based. I was actually running like a Death's Door with a endurance charge corrupt, but that's pretty pricey. I mean, you have options here. You can use Soul Ascension, anything you like. They don't give you as much ES as the Helm and Chest, so you can pick whatever you like here. If you don't want anything special, rare, Warlock gloves, Warlock boots. The only important thing I think here is that you have the implicit for the strike additional targets. If you can get 2, that's nice. 1 is fine as well. 2 is pretty expensive sometimes. It might cost you like several divines to get this on. Okay, Nimbus, I think pretty easy choice. This build is using Molten Strike, so this will double the damage, I think, more or less. It's so cheap this league, so take advantage of it, I think. I've seen builds that don't use this and use the Forbidden Flesh Flame for Shrapnel Specialist because they're running very expensive rings in both slots, but I don't recommend that setup. You need your Mage Blood. I guess at this point of the league, people are looking to do this. You already have one anyway, so I included this in the cost, but if you remove it, then it's really only about 150 divines, maybe? So you need this, because without this, I feel you can't get all res, and you don't get that high move speed. And high move speed is very important. I remember, without the move speed, there's Valdo maps that disable your travel skills, and they reduce your move speed, and you can't move in those maps without a Mage Blood. I mean, you can by manually triggering your Quicksilvers, but it's so painful. just you need this, I think. At the beginning of the league, you kind of work around it with 2 Flask, 3 Flask, but now I think, hopefully you have a 4 Flask. There's many problems with the build if you don't have this. Aegis Aurora should be cheap. This is a crucial item, even though it's cheap. It will recover energy shield off a block that's based on your armor. Hold on, the music's too loud. Hold on. Okay. This build uses iron reflexes, meaning you have 0 evasion. 0 evasion. At the beginning, 0 spell suppress, but all your recovery comes from the block, from Aegis Aurora. Even now, I still like that setup so much that even after I dumped Aegis Aurora, I still want the mod of recover some energy shield when you block. This gives you a lot of survivability, a lot of recovery. I don't know why people like spell suppress better. I like this a lot. It's all up to you. I mean, if you want to follow a spell suppress version, I think you follow something else, not this, because I don't know much about the spell suppress version. So, okay. On a budget, I think the 8 passive Cluster Jewel with Feed the Fury and Prodigious Defense. You put 3 of these on, it helps greatly. You get more damage, you get lots of stats. The reason why Endgame this is so strong is because for the people not familiar with Cluster Jewels are basically turbocharged nodes. So if you're at a level 100, you want to get the most out of your passive points. That's Cluster Jewels, that's what they do. They give you strong nodes on your tree that are better than what you have on a tree. So for this build, I think you go to trade site. Here, you go to trade, you go to here. How I search is I type adds pound passive enchant, then you type 88. There might be better ways of doing this. This is the way I do it. And then added passives. Yeah, here, added passive. You'll have the list here, so you would pick the ones you want. Beat the Fury. And I said, or for this one, you just type Prodigious Defense, like this. And that should be it. And type search. Yeah, 1 divine. Make sure it's 8. Not 9, not 10. 8. Maybe you want one with 3 of them. This is tricky. There's a whole thing about the layout of it. It's a headache. Buy one with 3. The cheapest one that has both Prodigious Defense and Feed the Fury. I think these 2 are fixed in position so that you don't have to grab the back nodes. Cluster Jewels are so complicated. You basically just want these 2 nodes. I think these are really good. So, yeah. There's others too. I'm not saying this is the best. This is what I would just go for, brain dead. Next. Then, on the largest, you attach, I think this is a bit overlooked on a budget. Eye to eye. Repeater. In a 4, oh, I hate when that happens. Repeater here, 4 or 5. And then you get medium clusters, I bet. Yeah, 5 chaos. 5s are okay. You just ignore the extra. You don't care too much about these. These 2 nodes combined, add them up, 100% increased damage under projectiles. Most of the damage from Molten Strike is from projectiles. So this is a very good deal, I think, and very cheap. I put tons of these. These will crank up your damage like crazy. It won't boost your ES, but it will boost your damage, which is always a good thing. So that's it's the wrong one. This one. Let me close this so I'm confused. Usually I get confused by everything. Okay, natural affinity. I discovered this 3 leagues I play this, and now I discover it. Copying someone else, really. I tested this. This is good. This gives you, if you the TLDR, 20% more damage, 10% less damage taken for sacrificing 1 jewel slot and putting in 1 passive point. Good deal. Good deal. I think it's a good deal. You have to live with the annoyance of the grasping vines. You have to kind of stay still. You can bypass this downside. Here, I'll show you. Like when you walk, it says 10. So that means I'm getting 20% more damage and 10% less damage taken. That's very strong. But if you move, it counts down. You lose them, right? They stack up when you don't move. But what you can do is, if you have Leap Slam, it kind of doesn't leave. I don't know. Like, it depends on your attack speed. Like, you know, like, you kind of keep it if you just keep Leap Slamming around. Now, this is personal taste. This can be annoying, because when you move, you get dragged down. I think it's good enough value to live with the downside. If you don't want it, cut it out. Lethal Pride is pretty important because usually you have issues with not having enough strength. You kind of want to avoid taking the strength nodes if possible because it's a waste. Lethal Pride will give you strength, free strength, I would say, by adding them onto your existing nodes. There's a whole thing with looking for paths for timeless jewels. There's guides out there, they're very good. I think the most important node is Rage on melee hit. This one. Hopefully you get either this one or this one. You can get a Rage on melee hit because this build kind of keeps hitting stuff frequently. So just having one of these is kind of like having 30% more damage after some ramp, which is very, very good. And the other nodes, Intimidate, pretty good. Double damage, you think of this as 5% more damage, pretty good. If you ever want the Sublime Vision setup, then you have to make sure you have the Rakiata version, which then you can take Tempered by War. But this is a very, very expensive late game thing that I don't even think is worth it all that much. But this one was very cheap when I got it. Usually the ones that go here are more expensive, I think. The ones up here, not so much, because people generally put the ES Jewel here. This I'm not too sure of. You want to keep it below 10 Divines, I think. Don't pay like 80 for this. That's kind of a ripoff. Alright, then because of Aegis Aurora, that gives you max cold res, you want to have the +2 maximum cold res on several jewels. They're not that expensive if they don't come with other good stats. You can also use the Harvest Bench. I don't know if people know this, but if you have a max res jewel, you go to your Harvest station and you do the convert thing. Like if it has maximum fire res, you type in fire. It says fire to cold. It only costs you 500. You can even buy the +1, and this is like a free divine. You can think of it that way because every time you roll it, it randomizes the value. So you can look for anything on a trade site that has plus, maximum, fire, cold, or lightning. It doesn't matter. The cheapest one you can find. And make sure you have 90 all res with melding. Right? So you need melding too. If you don't know what melding is, again, look it up somewhere else. There's many guides on this. I think I used Thread of Hope for a long time. I think you don't use the ES Jewel in the cheap version. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. This is giving me 1000 ES here, but for 90 divines? So instead you would just put the Thread of Hope. I think it's a large or medium. I forget. The one that lets you tag multi-shot and Forces of Nature. It's worth it. You save 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I mean you save like 4 points in the end game. And you get this. 10 LE pen. You need a good prismatic tincture. Yeah. This one, if you activate it, with elemental builds, this is huge damage bonus. Huge. It's absolutely huge. I always make use of this. I think you can't play the build without making good use of this. You go to POB, ticket, unticket, you'll see a massive difference of like 30-40%, 50 maybe more damage. It's basically like something like that. It can be between 50. It can literally double your damage. It depends on your build. It's huge. Alright, and then if you get like more currency, then you move into things like maybe you want to get the 12 passive, these jewels. These are so expensive. You know, they're like, I think this one was 60 divines. I think the maximum, the best one has +8 to intelligence, not +4. And then the cost shoots up to like 150 divines. It's ridiculous. I don't think it's worth paying that much. You're paying like 100 divines for 10% increased energy shield. It doesn't make sense. But of course, if you have the currency, why not, right? This is good enough, I think. But you don't want to compromise on this. If you don't want like really bad ones, because then it's not worth it. So either you have the currency to buy close to top, but not quite, or you just stick with the 8 passives. Voice of Storm, additional curse. This is very optional. I don't like Anathema because you need to remove the ring sometimes for less damage mods. So I got this for cheaper, I guess, before. It has a very rare corrupt called you can apply an additional curse. Then you put Whispers of Doom on top. Now you have 3 curses total, meaning use a focus setup where you apply conductivity and elemental weakness, and Sniper's Mark also counts as a curse, so that's the 3 right there, and that's a limit. If you have Anathema, you would maybe add a 4th curse. It's pretty cheap, but here you have 3 curses. It's good enough. You can remove the ring like this. You still have 3 curses. If this was Anathema, then you can't do that, right? And curses are big. In POB, you will look at it will show you that removing this node will sometimes minus 30% damage. It's crazy. Of course, you have to apply the curse, which is why I like to use Hexbloom support. This will make it so that when you curse enemies, the curse spreads everywhere. Just copy this if you don't. If you want, if you don't like it, take it out. It's all up to you. It's all up to you, you know? This is just what I do. What else? So, Awaken. Okay, so for the Awaken gems, I think Awaken GMP kind of worth it. POB says you get 1 extra projectile. POB says it's about 15 to 19% more damage, and it costs 60D. Worth it? Worth it? Maybe worth it at that level. Ephemeral Edge, if you go to 15% with Resolute, yikes. Maybe 14, 15, 8%. You pay 40 divines for 8%. Yeah, why not with the currency? You can target the upgrade. It's pretty significant. The bottom line of how much it adds, it's big. From 10 to 15 is massive. So would never sell below 13. I think now you should probably go for 14. How much is 14? Oof. How much is 13? Up to you. Then maybe at this budget you would buy the 50% global necrotic armor, like this one. I think this is about. Oh my god, this is scary. Forget the LE res. Yeah. Okay. A lot of meaning ES, we covered that. You would just buy it because you have the currency. You can try to play with some Forbidden Flesh or Flames. I choose Opportunistic because I think it's cool not to run meta. I mean, Born in the Shadows is is probably even better. I don't know. I think Opportunistic is good, but you pick, it's fun to pick the one you want, like picking on your own clothes or something, whatever the hell you want. They're not that important. Awaken Multi-Strike, this is a really, really like luxurious upgrade. Someone mathed out that it's about 8% more damage than a regular Multi-Strike, which is very cheap. You recall? Then if you have like super high-end gear, then the first option is you follow the multi-mirror in-stack versions that use Spell Suppress. Their ES goes to like crazy numbers. Probably never dies. The cost is up to you. It's your imagination. Don't know how you get the currency for that, but sure. Or, if you're really bored, keep playing like I did. Just slowly crank out the divines. You can go for Sublime Vision and Watcher's Eye. This is the Sublime Vision setup that you can just get all your res to fire. I covered it in the other video. I don't think it's really worth it. This is just for fun. It just dies less than a regular version. I mean, right, so you can push it further and further and further. But the point is that on the base budget, you can do a lot of maps. And like, I don't remember exactly which ones. If you're so inclined to find out before even investing, you can sift through all the previous footage. I don't want to do that. I have a rough idea of what does work or not. Part of the fun is just running the map and seeing if you can or can't. And if you can't, then you adjust your build to make it so that you can. And so yeah, I'm pretty sure with this build that I've outlined here, I know that I did a lot of, I believe, Sandstorm Visage maps. Usually I run Voice of the Storm, Underground Sea, but since Voice of the Storm is so worthless this league, Replica Alberon's another target. You can do some Light of Meaning maps. You can also do Dying Sun, Bottled Faith, some of these low-end, lower-cost flasks. And then when you get to the higher end, maybe you do some Nemesis or even Mage Blood maps. You might do Void maps. I know there's one I like a lot with Nemesis on Strand that has Ritual Altars. That's a Void map that has usually a high margin, about 20, I think almost 10 to 20 sometimes. But it's kind of a discovery process that's kind of fun. Like, you look at the maps out there, see what you can or can't do. And yeah, I think the margins are tighter now a little bit. More people are running Valdos now. There's kind of a whole bunch of builds that do them. My personal take on which one's best, I always say the Armor Stacker one is the most intriguing because of how high the damage gets. Just that the cost looks like it's really expensive. So I don't know, like, if you wanted that one, then you should go follow that guy, Big Daddy. That's his name, I think. The other one is the Instack version, also multi-mirror. I don't think... This one just never dies. The other one kills really fast. Both have their pros and cons. You'd have to dig deeper yourself. Oh, and this one, yeah, no Merc. I don't know why. It's my personal preference. I know there's great synergies. Perkle's Toe, Doriani's. I did Doriani's. On this budget, maybe you might want to have a Merc with Doriani's. It's really strong. What I don't like about it, though, is that he dies in harder maps. And when he dies and you rely on him for the bulk of your damage, you feel like the map is bricked. And I don't like that feeling. So I chose no Merc, and you have to then put in the curses then. If you have a Merc, you do not need curses. If you have a Doriani Merc, then you don't need curses. There's plenty of setups out there. I don't know which one's good or not. I just don't want the Merc. I don't want to babysit the Merc. I don't want to see the red icon here and go, oh damn, or God, not again, you know? So I like having consistent dependability. You know, I don't like things that give you damage when you don't need it that much, and then don't give you anything when you need it the most. I just don't like that kind of thing. So this one has no Merc, but I think at the beginning you're doing moderate difficulty maps. The Merc with Doriani's can be very good, but you have to put currency into it. Those amulets and rings don't come cheap. Up to you. Test. See what's good, what's not. And that's it. Till next time.